In the last episode, we removed the K24 from the E30 to gear up for the engine bay shave. We're left with a huge mess and a lot of work ahead of us. All of this wiring is going to be relocated and all the extraneous brackets will have to be cut out and welded. I'm also going to be installing the engine bay shave kit from Rage Parts, which includes a bunch of panels and pieces to fill in all the gaps. The first step is to just start cutting, so let's do it. I saw someone using this finger sander to remove spot welds in a video, so I figured I'd try it, but I don't really recommend it. It's better to just use a spot weld drill bit. Most of these parts come off pretty easily. Just got to cut the weld, smack with a hammer, cut the other welds, smack with a hammer again, and then clean it up. The finger sander works really great on small stuff, but for thicker pieces of metal, you're going to want to use a flat disc. This is where I made my first mistake. I was way off my angle cutting this bracket off and I ended up cutting a huge gash into the wheel well. When I went to weld it, it was a huge mess. I decided to square up the opening a little bit so it'd be easier to make a patch panel. Now that I've got a couple brackets removed here, I'm just going to clean up all these little bits, soap it up, degrease it, whatever, and we can start patching holes and get to installing the plates. So there's obviously still ways to go with cleaning here, but this hole here is really bothering me. This is from when I removed the airbox mount, or maybe this was the ABS. I'm going to take the wheel off, put a piece of cardboard or paper here, trace it out, cut it on a piece of steel, and tack it into place. So this hole here will be fine to make a piece, but this little wacky kind of triangular piece, I'm going to just adjust a little bit here. Now, on the bottom side of the car, there's a bunch of undercoating. So you have to sand all that out from the bottom side so it doesn't catch on fire and doesn't mess up your welds. So I've already gone ahead and done that. It makes a big mess. Got the pieces adjusted here, and now they're ready to be welded in. Welding this thin metal is pretty tricky. It's best to just kind of tack it all the way around. So this took me a lot longer than it should have, but the holes are patched now. They're really lumpy and the welds came out really bad. What had happened was I was grinding away the old brackets, and I guess I was a little too overzealous with the grinder, and I'd thinned out the metal so much that when I was welding it was just blowing through. I ended up just cutting out this entire section and welding it in, as you can see. So now I'm just going to prime it so it doesn't rust or anything, and just for a little sanity check to fill it in a little bit. Next up, I started removing all the seam sealer to prepare for welding. This area is ready for welding now, so I'm just going to hit it with some zinc weld primer. And this stuff is basically weldable paint. I wanted to clean up the front area behind the headlights, so I moved the power steering reservoir and brake reservoir back here. I just welded up some bolts for the brake fluid reservoir, and the power steering one I utilized an existing bracket that used to hold the relays. Fast forward a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot. This really takes forever to do all this work. I got both sides fully welded up here. I just need to do some more grinding work. Ultimately, my painter is going to be doing all the prep, so he can do any filling and anything like that that's necessary to make it perfect for paint. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. The next video is going to be all about the wire tuck.